Hey everyone, welcome back to Genai Game News. Let's kick things off with what's becoming the biggest story of the summer, the September release apocalypse. According to GameSpot, we're looking at a September 2026 so packed with incredible games that developers are literally abandoning the month just to survive. Valor Mortis, the new Souls-like from the Ghostrunner studio, just shifted from September 24th to October 13th. As reported by Eurogamer, the developers said September has become absolutely stacked, and they want to give players, and their wallets, some breathing room. And it's not just Valor Mortis. GameSpot is also reporting that Fable itself got pushed from fall 2026 to February 2027, with Microsoft essentially confirming they want the game to have its own window away from the GTA 6 shadow. The real kicker? GTA 6 doesn't even launch until November, but its gravity is already warping the entire release schedule around it. We're seeing a domino effect that's forcing quality games to step aside just to get noticed. Now let's talk about something that's been stirring up conversation in the dev community. According to Eurogamer, Crystal Dynamics has opened up about their use of generative AI while developing Tomb Raider, Legacy of Atlantis. The studio explained they used AI to help them get the right answers faster during development. Look, this is a nuanced topic. The developers aren't replacing artists or writers. They're using it as a tool to accelerate their workflow and decision-making. Think of it like using reference materials on steroids. The interesting part here is the transparency. Crystal Dynamics could have kept this quiet, but they came out and explained their reasoning. As the industry grapples with how to integrate AI responsibly, this conversation is going to keep happening. Love it or hate it, AI is becoming part of the modern game dev toolkit, and how studios use it will define this generation of games. In some exciting news for Sonic fans, Eurogamer is reporting that Sega is beefing up the Sonic team with a major hiring push. Timing-wise, this makes sense. The franchise is celebrating its 35th anniversary, and Sega clearly sees opportunity here. The company is hiring across multiple key roles, which suggests they're not just maintaining the status quo. They're building out the team, which could mean bigger ambitions for upcoming Sonic projects. Whether we're talking mainline game sequels, spin-offs, or something we haven't seen before, this hiring spree tells us Sega is committed to keeping the hedgehog relevant. Fans have been vocal about wanting quality Sonic games, and expanded team resources are usually a good sign. So keep an eye on this space. More developers means more firepower for delivering the Sonic games we've been waiting for. Okay, this story is absolutely wild, and according to PC Gamer, it's 100% real. Path of Exile 2 briefly had a crab. Yes, a literal crab enemy, with the third highest player kill count in the entire game. How does that even happen? Well, Grinding Gear Games apparently created this monstrosity by accident. The devs didn't intend for this particular crustacean to be so broken, so powerful, so utterly unbeatable that it was sending players back to the respawn screen left and right. The fact that it had the third highest kill count is absolutely hilarious because it means hundreds of players ran into this thing and just got obliterated. This is one of those perfect examples of emergent chaos in game development. You can test and balance all you want, but sometimes a crab just becomes a raid boss through pure accident. Grinding Gear Games has since fixed this, but the legend of the killer crab lives on. Alright, let's talk about Marvel's Wolverine, which finally got a substantial showcase at Sony's State of Play. GameSpot has been getting hands-on time with the game, and they're raising some interesting questions about what we're actually looking at here. The latest demonstration was the longest we've seen so far, but it's raising concerns about whether there's more to Wolverine than just viscera and action-adventure tropes. Look, Insomniac Games has a solid track record. They nailed Spider-Man and Miles Morales. But with Wolverine launching in September, the game needs to prove it's more than just a showcase for aggressive combat and brutal finishing moves. The bar is set high when you're making a superhero game, and players want compelling storytelling alongside the action. We'll get a clearer picture as we get closer to launch, but for now, the gameplay looks polished, the combat looks fun, but there are legitimate questions about the overall narrative experience. Here's a topic that's guaranteed to start debates in the comments section. According to both PC Gamer and GameSpot, Xbox's new Chief Strategy Officer Matthew Ball is doubling down on in-game advertising as a solution to gaming's economic problems. Ball's argument is pretty straightforward. Development costs are way too high. players don't want to pay more, and something has to give. His solution? Ads. He's even citing streaming TV as a precedent, saying services like Netflix have proven you can show ads and keep the subscription affordable. Now, look, I get the business logic. Game budgets are genuinely out of control, and there's a real squeeze between production costs and what players are willing to pay. But the gaming community has made it crystal clear they don't want ads in their games. This isn't a new idea from Ball either. PC Gamer notes he advocated for this before joining Xbox. So here's the real question. Can the industry find a middle ground? Or are we headed toward a future where ads become unavoidable? Only time will tell. Finally, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the new Tomb Raider remake. PC Gamer's critic went hands-on with the game and came away with a provocative take. You can't actually remake Tomb Raider. Here's their argument. The original 1996 game's legacy is so massive, so influential, that any modern remake is fighting against 30 years of history and nostalgia. The critic raises an interesting point about what actually made the original distinct, separate from how gamers remember it. When you remake a game that iconic, you're not just remaking mechanics or visuals. You're trying to capture lightning in a bottle while meeting modern expectations, and those two things might be fundamentally at odds. It's a thoughtful critique that goes beyond just whether the remake is good or bad. It's asking whether this project was ever going to be able to satisfy fans of the original while also delivering something meaningful for new players. That's the real challenge facing developers who tackle legacy franchises, and it's worth considering whether Tomb Raider might have been better served with an original game instead.